Back at it in the garage on the 2002 Trans Am. I wasn't going to show this. I didn't think it was going to be good content, but I changed my mind. What we have here is at idle, she cools just fine, but around between idle and 55 miles per hour, she's not cooling too well. So I took this off our core support, which is a part of our intake off, and just wanted to see what we have. And this didn't bother me so much because I get it, it looks bad, but in all reality, we got all this other area down here that's that should be doing a lot of cooling. This is just at the top, but what got me was, let's see if the light will show it. We got a lot of debris down here. So, and a lot of this is because these fans get all of this air pretty much from taking it from the bottom of the car. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you can see Trans Am, hardly any air is making it through here, or hardly any air is making it through here. You see what I'm saying? I think you get the point here. It doesn't go anywhere, it's just for looks. So your air on your car is actually coming all from the bottom. So this is all the cooling you have. And you can see this valence, which is really close to the ground because this car is already lowered. It's like a couple of inches off of the ground, like here, and as you drive down the road, it hits this chin and scoops it up. You can see the kind of curves up into here. And yeah, you could, we just got to, let's clean all this out, and then I'm going to do another test and see. I'm just kind of looking as I'm talking and see if that's going to make any difference. We weren't overheating, but like I said, on old country back road, I think I got to about 218 and 220. I'm cutting it off. So let's just see if we can get all of this trash and everything out of here, and if that's going to make any difference. So after a lot of air blowing and vacuuming, and I just brought this out to simulate. Let me show you what we got though before I talk about this. So as you can see, we still got a lot of debris, but it's really just little pebbles that are stuck in there. There is dust everywhere. I don't know if you can see under the car. I mean, this car ain't like it's pristine, but pretty much every piece of grit and everything on the floor is from this car, even the leaves. So I just took a regular nozzle here, yeah, and just because the angle worked a lot better than the straight one, and we just started blowing out the radiator and the condenser. I just went line by line, and in doing so, that pushed it through. Then we just had to start working the backside. As you can see, there's still like a leaf down there, but really the condenser is being almost a filter for the radiator, but also has a lot smaller fins than our radiator, so it's catching everything. And it ain't perfect. Like I'm looking, you can still see a good bit of debris, but it is probably twice as good as it was. And in fact, if this doesn't solve it, I'm probably just gonna take the condenser out and take it to a shop to get it clean, or we'll look at getting a new one, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be our issue with cooling right now. But yeah, I just went line by line the best I could, doing it from underneath the car. As you can see, we got a little bit of work we can get to a little bit. Cleaned out the transmission cooler like that. And then, so what I'm doing different is I had this mat here sitting like that, and then I had this pretty much filter housing, radiator support, and sitting like that. And the idea was the air could still come in through our ram air nozzle. It's right there, and it could still feed our air filter, and it would just kind of swoop in and boom, and that would keep all our heat from getting into our intake lid. But for the sake of cooling, that's kind of more important to me since I'm a street driver, is I'm going to remove that, and you'll see why. Put this on like this, so. And this is all a theory, folks. I'm not saying this is the solve all, but it's going to be something to that effect. And now you can see air is going to come in there a little bit, because you got to think a little bit comes in underneath the hood, pretty much between here, which you can see it kind of slopes down to kind of close it, but it does get a little bit of air. And then our ram air is coming in, and it's going to provide support for cooling, but as we're idling, it's going to allow our air intake temperatures to rise, of course. But that's going to happen no matter what, to be truthful. But I'll see during that heat, sitting a little while, it'll get up to like 110 degrees intake air temps, which is reading off of here, and that kind of just goes just like that. So the air is going to rise and then hit our intake air temp right there. So hopefully a little bit more air passing right here will help with cooling. Cleaning it, I think, it's going to be our #1 factor. I almost feel like removing that piece right here is more of a band-aid. I also did remove this. What I found was this is like a shroud that tucks in here like that, and it kind of encapsulates the radiator or the condenser, and it also creates the path right here. But with my transmission cooler right here, it kind of like blocked like right here. I felt it was causing more of an air restriction than what helping. So we're going to remove this, do the worst thing we could possibly do multiple things at once, and then something fixes it and you really don't know what fixed it. But street car, I'm more worried about coolant temp than I am air intake temp. As when I cruise, it's going to cool off anyways, at least I believe so. More testing. But I'm going to put it back together, and then we'll go for a ride. And it's going to take a lot of riding to get our intake air temps up. So yeah, I'm going to put it back together now. Well, we're not doing much better. The intake air temps definitely skyrocket. You can see we're at 131 right now. It don't take much or nothing. I just had to pick up something. But sorry, I'm on the area where a lot of roots. I'm trying not to bottom out as bad. But we got up to 218 of just sitting there, letting it heat soak a little bit. Didn't really help the temps out. It ain't crazy. It ain't like unbearable by no means. I mean, you see low RPM maneuvering, we're already back down to 209, and I'm okay with 209. See, our intake air just sitting there idling through is at 140 now. That's what's in the yellow. My check engine lights on, or check gauges lights on, because of need fuel. I don't like that feature on these Trans Ams, is if you think something's about to blow up. But anyway, that's another story of why I even like it a lot. But yeah, you see we're back to 209, so it cools off fairly quick. A lot of it's around this speed, is 45 miles per hour. Even in overdrive, it just kind of the heels, and it's kind of hilly here. So you can see it's already dropping. We're down to 209. But I think I'm definitely going to add that cover back, separate the radiator from the intake system. That did help a lot. And we might be just trying to get that condenser clean, because I really think there's something to that condenser being as dirty as it is, not letting air get to that radiator. And like I said, we're not overheating. I mean, obviously, we already cooled down. I mean, look, we're almost 207. And really, 210 to me is normal. But I would love to try to get as efficient as 190. Anyways, that's a little more updating on Project Cooler Down, I guess. We'll pick it back up on the next, whatever I decide to do, I guess. A little update. We made a pit stop. We went ahead and added this barrier here, which before, if you recall, there was a big old hole, so that allowed all the heat from the radiator just to rise up into our filter here. So let's see what the hood closed. So now there's a little bit. Let me get a flashlight. Really curious. So I know these go straight into the intake. You can see that's the base of our that fabric, and then up there is the actual filter. And here, oh yeah, we're not getting any airflow to our radiator through these bottom snorkels at all. It just completely blocks it off. Oh dang, I was really hoping there was something to that. And then really the bottom of here is just that cavity, because what they do is actually the air goes in, it's supposed to do like this little dive and then comes back up to keep help with water. So that's a no-go. That should help with intake air temps, and I'm gonna take it for another ride. Well, we're still fighting overheating issues. As you can see, we're cruising at 80. It's just 80 miles per hour. We're at 212 degrees. And every once in a while it ticks to 213. You see our air intake temps around 94, 95 degrees. So it's definitely hot outside, but you would think going 80 would be all right. I mean, one time it ticked to 214 at a steady cruise. I really don't know. That's a lot of air. I mean, we're also at 3,000 RPM, so I get that's a pretty big load too. But I just figured with that much speed, we would kind of be upping the temps. I think I have another thermostat at home. I mean, if I do, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there and see if it helps. If not, I really don't know what to do. It's only $80 for a new condenser. On Rock Auto, I'm almost wondering if my condenser is just more clogged up than I think. For $80, it's probably gonna be worth finding out if I already do a thermostat. I'll keep hacking away. So we got the Raytech digital thermometer out. We're showing right there 203. Hopefully y'all can see that. So we're gonna go over here, just play around with a few things. Say about 57 degrees. I would think that's probably accurate. It's pretty cold. 78 right there. So first, let's hit our condenser. 131. Let's see. Our radiator cap. 130. Right here on our radiator core. 149. Our outlet. 180. Our thermostat housing. 179. Our head, 180. Our header's hot. Hot, hot, hot. Yeah, pretty hot. So we'll get over here. So this is where our coolant reading's coming from. About 190. 197. 200 right there. Saying 200. Let's see what our. They're saying 201. So actually it might be. But our actual radiator. Now it's saying 200 right there. That's right. when I first pulled it out off camera, it's like now it's kind of heat soaked a little bit. Our readings are slightly different. It was like a 20 degree difference there. I'm still suspect. The saga continues of overheating.